guys, welcome to another TFL trail guide, and today I am in Leadville, Colorado, which is, by the way, the highest city in America at about, well, 10,200 feet above sea level. And I'm sitting here in front of the Melanzana store, and if you don't know what that is, you should Google it because it is perhaps the most Colorado of all clothing stores. And I have an appointment to actually go buy something, but it's not till February. Like I said, it's a whole thing, so Google it. But today we're gonna go run Mosquito Pass. And as always, we're gonna start someplace easy to get to, Leadville, Colorado. And the way you get here is you start in Denver and you head up I-70. You get off kind of by the Copper Mountain exit, and then about 2 hours west of Denver, you'll find yourself here in what, like I said, is the tallest city in America. And from here, we're going to jump in the truck, and we are driving a truck today. Remember, this is not a review of the truck, but it is a review of the pass. So we're going to go and do Mosquito Pass. So we'll zero out the odometer here, and in a second I'll show you what we're driving. And then if you want to go run it, just come here to the store. Maybe if you're lucky, you can get yourself a hat or some socks, because without an appointment, that's the only thing you can buy. And let's go run Mosquito. If you do decide to run Mosquito Pass, I would make sure you do it in the summer, because up here in Leadville, you probably get about 8 months of winter a year, and you do not want to do this when there's snow on the ground. Now, Onyx says that it's, I think, a 5, so it's not all that difficult, but it's not all that easy. So I would recommend something with a little bit more ground clearance, and that is why today we have brought our long-term review Cybertruck, because this does have lockers front and rear and air suspension that will allow us to raise the truck. Howdy, how's it going?
How's it going, Fast Lane?
Good. You watch us?
On YouTube.
Hey, we got a postman that watches us. Anyway, I was saying you can raise this truck up to 16 inches of ground clearance. So while this is kind of, a very rocky dirt road, we are going over some pretty good sized boulders, so it's nice to have high ground clearance. And if you're wondering, there are no superchargers here in Leadville, but down in Silverthorne, there are actually two sets of them. So if you are taking an electric vehicle, you may want to charge up before you get up here, because up here you're not going to find a lot of electricity, at least not high-speed charging. All right, so I am going to reset this again just so that we've got good directions for you to follow. We are on 8th and Harrison, right by the clothing store, and we're going to make a left. Oh, there's a little Subaru. We're going to make a left onto Harrison, which is the main drag going downtown. But we're not going to go all that far, because really all we need to do is go up 7th Street, and that should take us all the way to Mosquito Pass trailhead. Well, it's not really a trailhead. And so it's relatively easy to get to. And then, of course, if you are coming up here to Leadville, this is a really fun downtown, a lot of fun stores, a lot of good restaurants, very Colorado in its nature, classic old Colorado town. So like I said, look for 7th and Harrison, and then hang a left if you're coming from Denver, which I believe would be south, if I've got my directions right. And then we're just going to drive straight up 7th all the way to the trailhead. Now, one of the cool things about coming up here to Leadville, besides the fact that you can say you've been to the highest city in America, is that it's a very chill place to be. I think if you live up here, it's hard to be super stressed, because there's just kind of this laid back, old school Colorado altitude and attitude up here. And like I said, that may be because of the altitude. Now, I wouldn't recommend coming up here if you're just flown into Denver. Altitude sickness does seriously come into play. I've had it, it's no fun. And to get rid of altitude sickness, it's relatively straightforward. You just got to get down to about 8,000 feet above sea level, but that's way down I-70 in Georgetown, which is at least an hour, maybe even an hour and a half from here. So you don't want to necessarily be in a situation where you're feeling miserable up here. But luckily today we've got a beautiful day for a beautiful drive. And so let's go check out what Mosquito Pass is like, and let's see how the Cybertruck does. Now keep in mind, this is not a review of the truck, like I said, it's more of a review and a trail guide, but nevertheless, it'll be fun to see what an electric vehicle does, or how it does when you take it super high. And the great thing about electric vehicles, as I'm sure you know, is because they don't have an internal combustion engine, they're really not affected by altitude. So this thing has well over 600 horsepower. This is not the tri-motor, it's a dual motor down in Denver, and it's got the same amount up here. And we won't need a tenth of that, but it's still nice to have full horsepower and torque when climbing classic Colorado Pass. All right, let's roll the music and let's show you the way to the trailhead. We just passed the Matchless Mine. These are all tailing piles. And in case you're unaware, Leadville is known as a mining town. I believe it got its name from lead mining back in the day. And this area is just rife with all kinds of mines. But that also means that it's also full of all kinds of great off-roading. In the wintertime, I come up here and do a little bit of snowmobiling, or if you're from Alaska, snow machining. But there's just all kinds of great trails. So just want to make sure we're keeping you up to date. At 2 miles, 7th Street turns into a dirt road, and it will eventually turn into Mosquito Pass Road. I don't know exactly where it turns into that, but we're not to the trailhead yet. But this is certainly one of those good day trip outings. So you could come up here, leave Denver, have a nice lunch, run Mosquito Pass, and then it kind of drops you off at Alma, Colorado, which isn't too far from Breckenridge. So conceivably you could then go to Breckenridge and spend a little bit of time checking that old mining town out, making for a really fun day trip that you can enjoy. And all you need to do it is, something that's got a little bit of high ground clearance and four-wheel drive. So I always like to kind of be prepared for more than for less, and so it's nice to have something that is more off-road worthy than less off-road worthy, just in case you hit a rock or an obstacle or something unexpected, you're not struggling to make it over that. You'll notice that there's a lot of runners here. This is the second runner that we've passed, and Leadville is known for one of the hardest long distance running races in the country. Ultra marathons, as they're known, the Leadville 100, which is a 100-mile race that takes place both day and night. And if you're one of those crazy ultra marathoners, you've probably heard of it, because it's one of the more hard and one of the more classic runs in all of the U.S. Kind of up there with the Death Valley Run, and of course the famous run in California, which for the life of me I can't think of right now. But really great place to go running. At 3 miles, you'll hit this intersection, the dirt road, and what looks like start of a trailhead. Don't go up that way, stay on the dirt road, and you'll be on your way up to the top of Mosquito Pass. All right, at about 4 miles, you get to this gate, and then another Lake 3 County road sign, and that's where Onyx, the trail, really begins. And if you guys are figuring out how to get up here, I would highly recommend you check out Onyx for your trail guide. We've been using it for the last several years, and if you put in TFLoff-road when you sign up for it, you'll get a very substantial discount, and then you won't be lost, and you'll never be afraid of not finding your way back home. So this is where it gets a little bit rougher. So I think this is where we're going to go, and we're going to go into our off-road mode. Where's our off-road here? You see off-road, Cole? I thought it was in here. Okay, we're going one more time. Thank you, Cole. Of course, it was the very last one. I have to put it in park. All right, we want to confirm we're going to go into off-road mode. And we've got the ride height going up, so the Cybertruck is getting taller. You've got high, very high, and extract. We can turn off our rear steering if we want. We're going kind of overland, so I wouldn't necessarily go Baja. That's for more desert running. We're going to leave our locking diffs on because the second you lock the diffs, it makes the steering much more difficult. But the great thing about the Tesla is it shows you your air pressure, and we're not going to air down for this one because you really don't need to, but we're 46 PSI all around. And then it also gives you your battery temperature, your front and rear motor temperature, and we're at 63% on our battery, which should be plenty to get us up and over the pass. So let's hit it. It might be good if I put it in drive. The only downside to going into a little higher mode is now the truck has up to 16 inches of ground clearance, which we won't be using, but the higher you are, the less suspension travel you have, so it makes for a little bit firmer ride. But it's better than scraping your belly along the bottom of a rock-covered trail. And the nice thing about Mosquito Pass is that unlike a lot of Colorado passes, you know when you're on the pass. There's no doubt that you've just gone from a dirt road to a much more challenging mountain pass. Like I said, Leadville is all about mining. And in Colorado, every paved road leads to a dirt road, which leads to a double track, which leads to a single track, but they all end up at a mine, and this is a great location to actually show that because we are completely surrounded by mines. So what I think I'll do is let's cut to the drone footage so you can get a better sense of just how many mines are around here, and you'll understand why Leadville is not only the tallest city in America, but one of the most mined cities in America. So I forgot our air down and air up kit, which is my mistake, but it happens. I also forgot just how much Tesla fills up these tires to get good rolling resistance, but it's got a really miserable ride off-road right now, and I can't take it. I have a really bad back, so I'm going to take it down at least 10 PSI, enough to make it a little bit softer, but not enough that I have to worry about it when I get back on the road. Because when you get back on the road and you don't air up, you can roll the bead off the tires. I just want to make the ride a little bit cushier, and then drive it to a gas station and air it back up. Because even though this is a long wheelbase vehicle, at 46 PSI, these tires are rock hard and just make for a very miserable ride when this is in its higher off-road mode. As you can see, I took it down to 35 PSI. It's just such a pogo-y ride with them filled up all the way. That makes for a very unpleasant experience. And that's always the issue with vehicles with air suspension, because when you raise them up, you lose suspension travel, and then you're really depending on your tires for that, not just grip, but for kind of that cushiness. And even taking them down 10 PSI has made a world of difference. Do you agree, Cole? Cole gives me the thumbs up, our videographer. This time I'm not by myself. So yeah, I've got a bad back, and I gotta tell you, doing Mosquito Pass like I'm riding a pogo stick would have been not a lot of fun. Still not a lot of fun. I'm still getting a lot of head bob. I just think that this is Tesla's first crack at an off-road vehicle, and the engineers are still dialing in the suspension and dialing in the calibrations to make this more off-road friendly than just lifting up the suspension. All right, well, enough about my back and the Tesla. Let's check out where we're going. So, Cole, if you aim the camera forward, you can kind of see the trail zigzagging next to the power lines all the way to the top of this mountain. And right now we are at, I'll check my watch, 11,500 feet above sea level. And I think we're going at least to 12. There are 52 14ers in Colorado, which is the most of any state in the union. Got some people over here on side-by-sides. Kind of envy them right now. Those things have a lot more suspension travel. But Mosquito Pass is a really fun pass to do, especially if you're not looking for any serious obstacles, because this is basically kind of just this rocky road with a little bit of shelf road at the top, and then just a magnificent view, which we'll show you when we crest. So it's not something that if you're afraid of heights or if you're afraid of wheeling and you're having to have your four-wheel drive vehicle circum an obstacle that you may not be comfortable doing. This is none of that. This is just a really nice afternoon out in the Colorado mountains. All right, let's roll the music and show some more of the pass. Another great beginner reason to come up here, and this is not the Switzerland Trail like I did in one of the other previous ones where it's super easy and super newbie, but a good reason this is a good beginner-ish trail is because it's wide open. As you can see straight ahead of us, there's a lot of room to pass, so you don't necessarily get onto a very tight shelf road, especially in something as big as a Cybertruck, where all of a sudden you're going to have to be moving over and making sure that you can let whoever's coming down the pass pass. And that can always be a little butt clenchy and stressful situation. And here, I think because this is either an old mining road or because this kind of follows the power lines up and over the pass, it was built for wide vehicles, at least this bottom part. When we get up to the top, it is going to get a little bit more tight, but still nothing that is going to cause you to be a little scared when somebody else comes down and needs to pass you. And I do have a wide truck. I mean, let's face it, the Cybertruck is a full-size truck no matter how you cut it. And as you can tell, we're at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock almost, and the clouds are moving in. And I'm guessing because this isn't such a long pass, we'll be off the top before the storms start, because you don't want to be the tallest thing on a mountain with lightning all around you. And by the way, if you're wondering, people always think that when there's lightning, you're safe in a car because you're insulated from the road because of your rubber tires. And it's not the case. The reason you're safe in a car or truck is because you're basically in a Faraday cage. And so what will happen is the lightning, and let's hope this doesn't happen to us, Cole, the lightning will hit the top of the vehicle, and instead of going through you, it'll go around you and then blow out your tires going out the bottom. Now, I was just about to say that this doesn't get all that shelf roady, and if you look ahead, it's getting a little shelf roady. This is the thing about Colorado and off-roading. It always surprises you. Like I say, I've been up here for about 5 years. Last time I did this was in a Toyota Tundra. The time before that on my motorcycle. So maybe my perspective is a little skewed, because here we are getting mountain shelfy, and maybe this is a little bit more advanced. Once again, when this happens, like there's a rock to my left, there's a precipitous fall to my right, then use that old Land Rover motto, as slow as possible, as fast as necessary, and you will be fine. When you get to mile 6, you'll hit this serpentine, and this is really where it kind of gets a little gnarly, and you may want to use your lockers if you have them, just because the trail is a little rocky and you are going to be struggling for traction. Now, I wouldn't recommend locking your front. It's not going to get that bad, but if you have a rear locker, this would be a good place to engage it. I haven't done so yet, but I may do so if I start to lose traction, which I haven't done yet. But if I do, I'll definitely lock it. And of course, here comes, like I said, a Colorado runner, Cole. This is the thing about Colorado. First time I came up here, I went to the top of Long's Peak, and I dressed for bear. I had like food enough for 4 days, and then some dude in shorts and t-shirts, comes running down, just like here on this pass. I've got this massive Cybertruck, and there's a guy with a water bottle in his hand, and I'm talking about storms, and he's got, you know, a hat, water bottle, and shorts, and coming down off the peak.
Thank you.
Thank you. What'd you say?
Who wrapped it?
Oh, we have a friend of ours who does it in Denver.
Yeah, no, I drive one as well, and I love this truck, but it looks really good.
Oh, you drive one. Have you taken it up here yet?
Say again?
Have you taken it up here?
I live in Leadville, so you'll see it driving around.
Oh,
so,
sweet, yeah.
Yeah, when'd you get, I got mine about 2 months ago. It was pretty quick, so
Yeah.
When'd you get this one?
Oh, gosh, we got it maybe 5 months ago.
Oh, shit, so you guys were super early.
Yeah, we were early, yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. Looks really, really good.
Oh, thank you, man. I
You
appreciate
happy
it.
with it?
I love this truck.
I've been stoked.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it works well as a truck. People give it a lot of crap, you know, but it actually does everything a truck needs to do, including climbing up Mosquito.
I speak like a New Yorker.
Yeah.
And I'm a Colorado. It's
Yeah.
fucking bullshit. We drove a 3 forever, and just like Teslas. I was like, oh, the truck, I think it's going to be capable. People are bagging on it. Right out of the box, this is the most capable truck on the road, man. With those dips locked, no fucking way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, again, this is off the lot.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like-
yeah, except for the wrap.
Except for the wrap, and that's not helping me. So, but I'm going to pay you a compliment. They're a little bit pricey, and so if I said to my wife, I'm going to drive it up Mosquito, she'd break my fucking head. So, anyway, I'm making it about me. It's great to see this out here. I'm glad you're up here.
Yeah, have fun. Thanks, bye. So basically, he said they're a little too expensive to take off-road, and that's why we buy them, so you don't have to. All right, it gets a little rock gardeny up here, so I am going to lock my rear, just because it's always good to have more control than less control. There's a little pointy rock that's kind of forcing me to go very close to the edge here, so I don't want to have this truck start digging and then start going sideways, but locking the rear was the right move there. And once again, I feel like I'm in complete control, and I'm not scared or worried about the shelf road that's behind me. Here, Cole, give me a camera. I'll show them what we got down here. It doesn't look as frightening from the camera point of view, but believe me, oh, now we're hitting. Oh yeah. Well, Cole, you know what that means. Time to go to very high. And there is one fault with the Cybertruck, and that is when you let off the gas, I mean, the pedal, the accelerator pedal, it does roll backwards on you. But now we've gone to very high, and because this truck is so long, it's got a relatively bad breakover angle, but at very high, you're almost at 16 inches of ground clearance. And what the gentleman said about being the most capable out of the box, I'm not sure about that, but it certainly does get the ground clearance when you need it to have it, which is nice. You know what I said about being able to pass easily? Not so much when you get to the top here. It does get very tight and narrow, as you can see. Luckily, this is a weekday, and so there's nobody else that's coming down. I'm sure as I say that, there'll be a giant Ram 2500 Cummins coming down. But there are places like here where you could pull off and get out of the way of somebody else. But keep in mind, the off-road etiquette is when you're going uphill, you do have the right of way, so the person going downhill should pull over. But they may not know that. And remember where I said I locked my rear diff? Just keep in mind with the Cybertruck, you could lock both the front and the rear, and a lot of cars won't let you lock the front without the rear, which is a good thing because the front diff lock really makes it difficult to steer because then both wheels no longer have basically a differential and they're just really working hard. We got some rain coming. So remember, always lock the rear first. Looks like we got a little bit of rain coming. I don't think we're gonna dilly-dally too much at the top here. We'll probably show you guys what it looks like and we'll head on back down, not because of the rain, but because where there's rain, there might be storms. And I don't really want to be on top of the mountain if it does start to storm. Having said that, I'd rather be on top of the mountain if it does start to storm in a Cybertruck than running down it with the water bottle, shorts, and the t-shirt. I'm not worthy. I am not worthy. Whoa, it's windy up here. In about 8 miles, you will reach the summit of Mosquito Pass, and you'll have a spectacular view heading back east, and of course, an even more spectacular view going back west. Now there is a road that heads off from the sign, Mosquito Pass, elevation 13,185 feet. And there's a road that heads up there and it goes up to that little installation up there. I've ridden my motorcycle up there, so you can go up there if you want, and you can visit that radio tower or cell tower or whatever it is. But oh my God, this is spectacular. So if you are coming up here, I'd recommend bring a pickup truck, bring your pooch, or hell, bring a Cybertruck. Just remember to air it down. Now, to finish off this video, once we get out of here, because the winds are blowing really hard, we'll fly a drone and give you a spectacular view of the wonderful Rocky Mountains and the Continental Divide. So thank you for joining me for another TFL Trail Guide. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Ciao! Just a little post note. Now I did learn a couple lessons taking on Mosquito Pass, I think for the 4th time. First and foremost, definitely air down. And I would recommend bringing a vehicle that has a spare tire. I didn't want to scare my videographer. But if you're wondering, we're here at the old London mine. And it took us about 12% of battery to get up and over and down to the mine from the Leadville side. Now you can do this pass from the town of Alma, which is just down that way. Basically, if you come up from Denver, you would hang a left, head to Breckenridge, go past Breckenridge, and then at Alma you would hang a right and you'd be up here. And it's no harder or easier coming up from one side or the other. You're kind of gonna be on boulders and rocks on a shelf road. And the wonderful thing about Mosquito Pass is that whether you're coming from the Leadville side, which I prefer just because it makes a nice round trip, back to Denver, or you're coming from the Alma side, they're both spectacular, as I hope you saw in this video. All right, this is really it. Ciao.